Hello again, this is Tony Burgess from Academy of High Achievers, otherwise known as AHA. I'm going to be presenting here step 3 of 6 in our belief change process. If you haven't yet seen step 1 and 2, you may want to pause this video and look up those steps before continuing. Step 1 was about really knowing what it is that you do want. Step 2 was very much about a beliefs audit, or an inner stuff audit. Step 3 then is very much about what you do with the material that you've captured in your beliefs audit. And it relates very much to a human skill that seems very powerful and very prolific out there. And it's the human skill of what-ifing. Yes, most of us at some point have done some what-ifing in our self-talk. And so often it's perhaps been noticeable that that's been in an unhelpful direction. Yeah, the power of what-ifing in making us feel bad, or in terms of torturing ourselves or keeping ourselves stuck, is something that many people seem to have been well practiced at over the years. The thing is that when we get what-ifing heading in the right direction, it has equal amounts of power. And yet this time it's in the direction of unleashing your resources, unleashing all kinds of movements towards new possibilities that are aligned with your goals. So I'm going to ask you to harness the skill of what-ifing and using it for good. So apart from the words themselves, what if this, that and the other happens, the tonality in which we will ask it of ourselves is also going to have a lot of impact. So if someone's using what-ifing in an unhelpful direction, like what if it all goes horribly wrong, or what if it's a complete disaster, what if people don't like me, those kind of what-ifs for many people would be unhelpful, and you notice there's a kind of tone of voice that goes with it that kind of brings the dread with the words. It adds a level of intensity that gets the body sitting up and listening. Now, in order to actually diminish the effectiveness of that, we can actually phase out that tonality if asking an unhelpful what-if question. Even better, stop asking those unhelpful questions and replace them with much better what-if questions. Like, what if it's easier than I think it is? What if I'm more resourceful than I've given myself credit for? What if anything's possible when I give it the right amount of attention and resources? And so on. Notice there was an upbeat, kind of curious, really excited, if you like, kind of tonality, and we can really big that up. You know, what if I'm amazing? What if I can take on the world if I decide to? You know, what if this kind of challenge is just the right one for me? What if? You notice there's a tonality that again is going to get our system set up and listening. So when you're using your thinking voice in here, you know, just know that the tonality that's used is just as important as if you were having a conversation with someone on the outside and you were wanting to really hit home that point. You were really wanting to get people to sit up and listen. So this is all about taking the mind into possibilities that you may not have considered yet. So to really take this step forward, what I'd like you to do is looking at your beliefs audit. You may want to pause this if you haven't got your beliefs audit in front of you. Just get your beliefs audit in front of you now. Good. Now looking at the columns with the helpful stuff and the unhelpful stuff, what I'd like you to do is just intuitively glance down those columns and circle the inner stuff, the helpful inner stuff, circle the one that really stands out as most helpful. Just pause the video if you need to. Good. Now look in the unhelpful column and just intuitively notice, by looking down there, anything that seems to be the most unhelpful. Belief, assumption, thought, idea about this particular outcome or about yourself in relation to it. And just circle that. Again, pause the video if you need to. Good. So by capturing those most important ones, you can start now to strengthen the ones that work So you can really use the tonality to really convince yourself even more and keep it alive in your mind. Keep thinking it alive in your mind. If that's what opens the gates on your resources, keep it alive. Equally, on the unhelpful side, you may have something that's really been keeping you stuck or been getting in the way. I'd like you to take that particular one. By the way, you can go through any and all of the unhelpful ones in this list and follow through on this process. Let's start with the one that seems intuitively to be most in the way. And what I'd like you to do now is take a separate piece of paper and put what if ... and then just fill the page with some really good what if questions that are taking you in the direction of better alternatives to the one that you've perhaps got in that unhelpful column there that you've circled. So for example, say if my goal was to make a stack of money on a particular training course, and in the unhelpful column I'd put something like, well, this is just impossible, I'll never do it. I might have circled that and say that's really getting in the way. And now what I'm doing on my separate piece of paper, I'm putting what if, and now I'm allowing my mind to just run riot now in thinking of all of the great what if questions I could be asking myself that will empower me, that will open the gates on my resources, that will have me feeling good, feeling optimistic and driving things forward. So it might be things like, well, what if I am capable of it? What if it is possible? What if I know all the people in my network that can help me to achieve this? What if I've got support in this direction and that direction? What if it's just like that other thing that seemed impossible and turned out to be absolutely great in the end? What if, what if, what if? You know, really notice the tonality there. It feels good when we use that kind of tonality. So it can even be a bit Disneyland at this time. You don't even have to believe it at this moment. You can save that until a little bit later. Just ones that you'd really love to have in place that intuitively think, well, if I believed that, that would definitely smooth the way to me getting the outcome. That would open some gates on resources. I'd definitely find it easier to achieve if I had that circulating in my mind. So getting ready now, again, you may want to pause the video to just put what if at the top and some really great what if questions. Fill the page if you can, can't you? And then you can go on to the next page if you need to. Take as long as is useful for you and enjoy the process as well. Okay, pause the video and go. Okay, great. Now I'm assuming, and I'm hoping this is a useful assumption, that if you're engaging in this in a really meaningful way, you'll have now got a number of really helpful what if questions. And remember the tonality, asking it with the right excited, curious tonality is going to really make a difference. And what I want you to do is just rehearse asking those questions. Well, what if this? What if that? What if the other? Because at the very least, if you fill your mind with those kind of what if questions, it's going to stop your mind going to those old places where you might have been asking unhelpful what if questions. There won't be any room left for it. So enjoy that. In itself, just filling your head with great what if questions can be enough to empower you to have a very different experience of an event, a meeting, an outcome. I know a lot of people who go into sales meetings and they're filling their head with, you know, what if this is the deal that's going to really make a difference? What if they're absolutely begging for me to do business with them? What if this is the opportunity they've been looking for? What if they're ready to sign on the dotted line, etc.? They walk into the meeting, they're feeling great before they even get started. So think of where you're going to be applying this most effectively. Teach it to other people, apply it in as many contexts as is useful for you. And the next step is going to be incredibly useful to take the next step forward. So please look up for step 4. There'll be a video clip with step 4 that moves directly on from step 3. Now, you can do all the 6 steps, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or you can dip in and do one step and then do another step in another time. You can just kind of dip in and use them in isolation. They're going to be really, really powerful for you to use these in achieving your goals, taking yourself towards your own success. Now, I'm going to put a web address at the end of this video clip so that you can download a 6-step free report that allows you to have all the information there to hand so that you can apply this whenever it's most useful for you to do so. Play with this, enjoy it, and I'll see you very, very soon. Okay, enjoy, bye bye.